Question 3. So A1. Write the word equation for photosynthesis. Very simple. Word equation. Now, a lot of students end up getting this wrong because they go ahead and put the chemical equation. Please note the major difference and only put what the question asks you for. So they ask for the word equation, you are using words, not chemical formulas or chemical structures. So you have water plus carbon dioxide, you have your arrow and you put light. As an addition, I usually put chlorophyll to show that I understand, or I advise students to put that so the examiner understands that you know the two conditions necessary for photosynthesis to occur, and the products that you get is glucose and oxygen. Part 2. Organisms rely directly or indirectly on plants for food. So figure 4 shows a diagram of a food chain. Circle the producer in figure 4 below. So remember, your producers are the organisms that make their own food. Producers are plants. So circle the plant, simple, you get 1 mark. Part 3. Explain the possible impact on the lizard if there was a drought. So remember, drought means that there isn't any water present or very limited water. So what the drought would mean, we're starting at the producer. So the drought, there being a drought means that the plant or the producer will eventually die because it needs water. It also needs water to produce food through this process of photosynthesis. So without water, you are not going to have this process of photosynthesis. The plant can't make any food, therefore it cannot survive as it would use out its stores and it would die. The lizard doesn't directly feed on the plant, but it feeds on the grasshopper, which this is only a food chain that they showed us. So do not try to say that the grasshopper is going to eat something else. We are working with what we have here. So the grasshopper now will not have a source of food. So what will happen? It will either, the population of grasshoppers in that area would either die or they would migrate to areas in search of food, now leaving the grasshopper with no food source based on this food chain that we have in front of us. So the grasshopper would either die or it will also migrate, as well as the fact that the lizard needs water as well. So if there's no water, then that could lead to death or migration of the lizard. So it's literally a chain reaction. So part B. Mary decided to start a kitchen garden, but realized that her plants were not developing like the ones in her neighbor's garden, even though her plants were being watered often. So figure 5 shows the results of a soil profile test that Mary conducted with samples of soil from her garden and 2 from her neighbors. So the results of the soil test revealed that the soil in Mary's garden is sandy soil. So you have X, Y, and Z. Now they didn't tell you which one is Mary's, but they told you that she has sandy soil. So part 1, identify which of the results shown in figure 5 is most likely from Mary's garden. And I would have chosen X. So my reasoning for choosing X would have been the others, this lighter area to the top, this represents water. So the fact that the water remains on the surface of of Y and Z but not of X, that is a quality of sandy soil. So this is why I chose X. Then number 2, state 2 characteristics of sandy soil. So I just put a few here. So sandy soil, it drains very quickly or easily. It doesn't have good water retention. So poor water retention abilities. The particles are loose and large. It is well aerated, however, but it also has low fertility. So any 2 characteristics of sandy soil, you could put there and you would get your marks. Then you have part 3. So explain how the results of the test help to explain the challenge with the development of the plants in Mary's garden. So remember, she said that it was not growing like her neighbors, and then she found out, okay, from this soil test, my neighbor has better soil than me. Basically, I have sandy soil. So how the results could help her explain her challenges with the development of her plants, she can now understand exactly what is going on with the soil and knows that it's not her fault. It's the profile of the soil that she has. So she can understand the difference between the soil types that results in the difference, or the difference in terms of the results with the plants from her kitchen garden as well as that of her neighbors. And that it is in fact the soil type that, or her soil type, sorry, that doesn't hold water or have proper water retention properties, as well as it also has low fertility properties, because the same thing, she would be putting the fertilizers, but the drainage would and that loose nature of the soil particles would not really hold the nutrients in place for the plants to get the chance to take it all in. So just as an extra layer, I put that knowing this, now she could attempt um, to try and improve the type of soil quality that she has, by probably introducing compost into the area to improve the soil um, composition. Then part three, I'm sorry, part four. So Mary decided to use hydroponics as a second method of crop cultivation. List any three advantages of hydroponics. So with hydroponics, your plants grow faster because the nutrients are being supplied directly to the roots. She's going to be using less water, as the system is based on a water recycling rotation. You're going to get higher yields because you have better control of the conditions that you want. And she's also going to have less pest and disease issues because she's avoiding using soil on a whole, and soil is where a lot of the diseases come forward with plants.